Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Underworld.
And in this video, we'll be looking at the forthcoming Gitz and Goliaths box.
Grand Alliance Destruction, Gitz and Goliaths, it's all the G's.
Yes, this is number 3 in our little speculation videos about the forthcoming Grand Alliance boxes for the Spitewood release of Warhammer Underworld.
Yes, coming out sometime late this year, this box will feature 4 Destruction warbands, sadly 2 of which we've already seen.
Yes, so the 2 of them, the Gitz and Mollog, already have competitive rules, and they were released for download by GW, and lots of people who play them. And Gitz have been taking the competitive rule by storm, winning tournaments after tournaments and earning golden tickets to all and sundry.
Yes.
Although not me and Pete.
No. Now, whilst their win rate is incredibly high, I think a lot of people, because they've seen their win rate being so high, they've shunned away from them a lot.
As is the want of the Underworld's community.
And God bless all of you out there for ignoring them on that one. So because Mollog and Gitz have already been out, we're going to talk about those last, because we don't think there's going to be a lot of changes there. So we're going to start with the big lad, Hrothgorn.
Hrothgorn, as you've written here, Pete, in your notes, he's big, he's flexy, he's sexy.
Yes, Hrothgorn's warband are going to be a flex warband, and that kind of makes sense because they can probably punch like a train, and they can probably, the little guys run around. Yeah. You've got Thrafnir as well, running off onto objectives
and he can
biting
objectives
people's
now.
heads off. He can.
Yeah, it's quite exciting.
And of course, we're going to be getting back the trap.
Oh, yes. Now, that could have made them mastery.
Yeah, that could have.
Because presumably going to involve some skill to use.
Yeah, unless it behaves a lot like Stalag Squig and you just put it somewhere at the start of the game, and then if you push someone in it or something, they'll take a damage or something like that, maybe.
Quite nice.
So maybe that could be, and we're already jumping ahead and completely ruining our sequence of things, but maybe that could be their warband specific thing, that you start with the trap. Maybe you don't start with it out. Maybe Bushwhacker can run around and he can place it as an action. Maybe that'll be a warband ability.
A reaction to
or a reaction or something,
after a move action.
And he can go place that somewhere, and then it stays there for the rest of the game. It would be a little bit duller, but then to be honest, in most games with Hrothgorn, I never found the trap got placed more than once.
No.
So
I think that would be reasonable.
Yep.
I would almost prefer it. Bushwhacker had nothing to do with it. You literally just placed it.
I mean, he is carrying one, so
I know. It kind of feels like he should do, but at the same time, there are a few things worse than losing the fighter that can do the thing before you've done the thing.
Yeah, that is quite sucky. A number of games where I'd be like, I'm going first, am I? Well, I'm going to smash that little git right in the head. And you would just die every time. I didn't care if Hrothgorn was right next to a lethal hex, and I'd get maximum supports off it. I'm killing that little bastard. So yeah, I definitely think that having that as a warband ability, you just place it after setup or something like that, and it does its thing, would be probably the best way of handling it. Inspiration mechanic wise, going back to our proper sequence of events, looking at their inspiration, they all inspired if a fighter adjacent to Hrothgorn was killed. Feels like it's a fairly easy thing to keep going.
Yeah, and they could even keep that for Hrothgorn as well.
Yeah.
Because he just have to hit somebody up front to kill them. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, it forces you to get him involved and not just stand him there, because he is one of those fighters, again, that he'll go up to 2 damage when he's inspired with a range 3 attack, which kind of figures like he should. His weapon's bigger than most of the fighters in the game, so he should get that.
It gets 1 damage and grievous.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual on a range weapon, but it means you can't combine it with something like Cleave to do the 2 damage.
I'm wondering whether for Hrothgorn himself, if they give him back grapple as well. I don't think that would be a bad thing for him to have.
No, I was wondering whether they might do like a once per turn thing on his war scroll, where if you hit somebody with the bow, you can actually pull them all the way back to Hrothgorn.
Yeah.
Quite like that.
Yeah, because I mean it's range 3 anyway. Yeah. That would pull them 2, and that would be exactly like the old version of the game as well.
You could shoot across the trap then, if the trap was on the table, and pull them into the trap.
Which is what everyone always wanted to do.
I quite like. So.
Everyone wanted to do that one, so that would kind of work. And if they made that a rune mark, and they did keep him with Grievous as a rune mark,
you couldn't do both.
You couldn't do both, and it would then factor in with. The trap's probably going to be like if somebody comes onto this hex, they take 2 damage and you remove the trap kind of situation like it was before. Not too bad. Looking at the rest of the fighter stats, they're all pretty okay. Nothing much really jumps out at me there, other than Luggett and Thwack, who go from like a range 1 sword, 1 damage attack to suddenly 3 swords, 2 damage on Inspire.
Big change. I think if it was 2 hammers, if it was 2 hammers, 1 damage, that might make sense. But
Yeah.
1 hammer, 1 damage to 3 swords, 2 damage is bonkers. 3 swords, 2 damage is quite nice, and I think that's reasonable because there are Fafnir is quite good.
Yeah.
But there's not much else.
Most of the rest of them are like 1 damage.
Yeah, they're not much use, so that will be all right.
Yeah. The rest of them, though, their weapons and their stats all seem to fit quite nicely, so I didn't think I'd change anything too much there. The original stats about the Gnoblars helping out the big lad Hrothgorn in the middle with the various things whilst the cat runs off to go hunting, they could probably fit that into the War Scroll, I think, with some abilities there, so it'd be interesting to see how they handle that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we'd already talked about, probably want to separate the trap from Bushwhacker. But then I wonder what Bushwhacker would do instead of placing the trap, because that was his shtick before. Whether they would make it just like if Bushwhacker's adjacent, he counts as surrounding or something like that as well. That wouldn't be a big thing.
No. Maybe if he's adjacent to an attack, he gives you an extra damage once per game.
Like an ability on the War Scroll that you take off. Yeah, could be. Possibly.
To indicate that he's got some sort of trap going on.
Yeah, or gives you Grievous or something.
Yeah,
maybe something like that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be next to Hrothgorn. It could be next to anybody.
Yeah.
Another one could be that Quiv gives Hrothgorn a reroll, or he can just, if he misses, he can make another attack if Quiv's next to him. Would possibly be a bit nicer.
Quiv's giving him the arrows.
Exactly, yeah.
That'd be quite nice.
Yeah, it's a bit better than just a reroll, but it would still only be once per use per game ability. So
that'd be quite nice.
It would be give him a bit more flexibility when he's using his bow.
Yeah, and you kind of want the bow to be used as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a bit like the problem they had with Black Powders, in the like you want him to use the gun. He literally only inspires if he uses the gun, but the gun sucks. Yeah. I don't want the gun to suck. It's got to be better, so make it better. Hrothgorn was one of those warbands where when I looked through the War Scrolls, they've got a lot in there which are around flipping tiles and stuff, destroying them, which I don't think they're going to keep that kind of thing in this version of the game.
Objective deck had 8 surge cards.
Yeah, eight surge cards was just like, wow. They were one of those warbands, though, that when you actually sat down and looked through a lot of the power cards,
they were pushes and...
they were pretty generic stuff. They weren't very thematic to the warband. There was one quite thematic card in there, though, which I think was called a Quick Snack, which would enable you to heal Hrothgorn for 2, but you had to take one of your other Gnoblars off. I think that would work really nicely.
That would be a good War Scroll ability.
Yeah, you use Quiv. The minute Quiv has given you that second attack, you chomp him down.
Nice.
And that fits with the whole theme again, and that will give them, maybe they'll need some kind of Gnoblar push tech, maybe a little scurry thing, not a reusable scurry like the Gitz, but maybe you could just have a push all Gnoblars 1 hex or something like that, or push all minions 1 hex maybe, so that you wouldn't get Thrafnir involved, because I think Thrafnir is going to be a solid fighter on his own.
He's pretty good, Thrafnir, or he always used to be.
And that will give you that flexibility then, that you've got Gnoblars running off to objectives, Thrafnir going off and sniping somebody particular, and Hrothgorn sitting in the middle, terrifying everybody with his 6 wounds and just beating everybody up, and hopefully getting that trap used.
6 wounds with the possibility of 2 heal if he eats one of his compadres.
Yeah. I think that will work quite nicely, because then you've got to sit and think, do I go after the Gnoblars first, take them out so we can't do the heal, and then go after him? But all the time you're doing that, you're leaving a really angry Hrothgorn running around, chopping everybody up with his hunting knife, which was bigger than most of the other models again. So overall, I think that would give you a nice little flex theme there with them. They didn't have a particularly strong theme before, other than they used to key off of the whole hunter quarry mechanic,
which is obviously well defunct,
properly gone now. So I don't feel like they need to even try to resurrect that one. They could keep.
That's fine.
They could keep this mechanic around the Gnoblars helping Hrothgorn and just going that route. And I think that would work quite nicely.
They could, in theory, bring something back where you choose something, but that's too much like Borgits.
Yeah.
So I think they'll just leave that
and
alone.
I feel like they've got the trap.
The trap will be the thing.
And it could be that the trap is one of those things that you place it at setup, and if you start a round and the trap's gone and there's a friendly bushwhacker alive, you could place the trap next to him.
Yeah, that'd be quite good.
Something like that, just to give it a bit more, because he's nearly always going to die very quickly anyway.
Live very long, no.
But if you, on the off chance he does live and you've used the trap, you could set another one.
1,000,000 to 1 chances do happen sometimes.
Yeah, they happen like 9 times out of 10. The second warband on our list is possibly one of those warbands that is going to attract some of the greatest expectation from one of the largest base of players.
Absolutely, although it is actually my most hated warband.
I can't decide. I'm
sure I've speculated others as my most hated warband, but I really don't like it.
I think I got into Rippas near the end of the game, version 1.
Good.
Yeah. So once I realised they could actually be really great, I decided to try and latch onto them a bit, but I was shit. So
Unfortunately,
I
he fell off the back of the wolf.
Yeah. So Rippers, one of the only 3-fighter goblin-based warbands out there, but they're riding ruddy great wolves.
Not only one of the only, the only.
The only, yes. Well, I started going down the track of one of the only 3 won't fight, and then I thought, well, there's more gogs and stuff like that. So, but yes, the only warband that have mounts in the game, and the first creation of the whole mechanic around
An extra attack.
the extra attack. I can't remember what that thing was called.
It wasn't
now.
called combo, was it? It was just like a dog
No, it was
bite.
combo. Well, yes, the mechanic was combo, but yeah, they just called it the Snarlfang attack or whatever.
It wasn't called, combo came in later.
It was combo before combo.
Yeah.
Inspiration mechanic wise, I'm not sure whether they'll go with the original or whether they'll change it, because it was like 2-tiered before, with Rippa inspiring if you gave them 2 upgrades.
Yeah, that's too easy.
It does feel like with a great speed and a canny sapper or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I've inspired. Brilliant.
Yeah, maybe it'll be the number of glory.
Yeah, maybe it should be like it has to cost a minimum of 3 bounty or something before he inspires.
Yeah.
And the other 2 lads inspired if Ripper was the target of an attack. I don't mind that as a
I
setup.
think it's not too complicated.
No.
And I actually, one of the things I did like about that, because although I didn't like playing into Rippers, it meant that you had to think about what you did.
Yeah.
Because you, as when playing them, because you thought, well, if I attack Ripper, the other 2 become really good. I remember when I bloody played Skittershank against them, and I had to go for Ripper. And then the other 2 just tore me to pieces.
That was, I think, my first beginnings of my Ripper appreciation.
Oh, yeah, because they had the ridiculous save on every single roll thing that they could generate, which they're never going to be able to do because they don't have the access to the power cards.
No.
Another deck that did have quite good its own power cards.
Yeah, stat-wise, looking at their cards, they possibly need to alter them because the Snarlfang attacks, I think at the minute, they just all have 2 attack profiles. And
Right.
I think if you didn't know anything about Rippers, you'd be looking at it going, why would I ever use this attack profile when I've got that one? That one's just so much better. So I am hoping that they bring back the Snarlfang attacks on that second weapon profile, and they use like a rune mark to trigger it. So you could either give yourself the Grievous or the Cleave or whatever. But if you don't, you use the other rune mark, you then get that second attack if you make a successful attack.
Yeah.
Or possibly not even successful, because I don't think Ripper's attacks were successful.
No,
it was
I
just
think
you could make it.
You can make it, yeah.
So I think it might be better if it was just give them a rune mark, and if this fighter makes an attack with this rune mark immediately after their action, you can make the Snarlfang attack.
Yeah, I actually had a little thought after you'd written that, and they won't do this in the game, but I think it would be quite nice if there were some rune marks that were compulsory.
Yeah.
So like you can't use Grievous on Ripper's attacks because the wolf is always going to bite.
Well, yeah.
Do you see what I mean? They won't do it because it's too complicated. But there will be times when there are some things that it doesn't make sense that I'm not going to do that this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my cleave instead. It's like sometimes you're a frenzied wolf. You basically have to have bite or whatever.
And I guess they can work around it by making the attacks such that even though you're going to use your Grievous or your cleave or whatever, maybe that's just their warband specific thing. Is like after every fighter's action, they can make an attack using this. Maybe it'll have an attack profile on the War Scroll card. It'll just be after a fighter's action, they can make an attack using this, and they can't add anything to it.
No.
And maybe they could key their inspiration off of that instead. It could be a case of when a fighter makes a successful Snarlfang attack,
they inspire. Yeah.
Possibly.
Maybe like the wolf's got his blood up or something.
Yeah, it could be something like that. I think the wolves are always more important than the goblins riding them anyway, as is the same in any fantasy setting.
Yeah.
The mounts are always the damage dealers.
Yeah, absolutely. War horses.
Stat-wise, they do all go up to 2 shields inspired. Whilst I'd love for that to stay, I feel like they should be 2 dodge when inspired. 1 shield uninspired, 2 dodge inspired.
2 shield.
That's Stormcast territory. And whilst I expect them to all be 5 wounds and possibly a bit faster than your average Stormcast, I feel like they should be on 2 dodge instead.
And it literally will be dodging around on a wolf.
Exactly.
I think, they possibly could have a ability on their War Scroll which enables you to have like single supports because the wolf supports you all the time, kind of thing. That's another way. But then they'd have to remove the profile, maybe.
Well, they can have both. Borgitz has two warband specific things, doesn't he?
So all the time is quite strong though. So.
Yeah, true, but it's one of those things that it doesn't stack in this version of the game. So if you have Ripper and one of the other guys next to him,
that's true.
You're still only on flanked because it's a case of all your goblins' attacks have flanked. It's like, well, he's already flanked. So,
that's true.
and that was the problem in the old game, is that they had some cards which gave them like extra supports because of the wolf, and then you could have another goblin to double up those supports. So now you wouldn't get that so much.
It was horrific.
So that, I think those could be their two warband specific fighter abilities, and that would play into the whole aggro aspect of it as well.
Yeah, because they're going to be moving fast, attacking lots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, as you mentioned earlier, they did have a lot of power cards that were just good. They were just really effective power cards, even if they didn't fit a particular theme other than it's goblins on wolves. But I think those would translate perfectly to the War Scroll, and making them all one-use abilities would just make it a nice, straightforward War Scroll for people to be able to play. Things such as Defensive Maneuver, which would, after an action step, enable you to push the friendly fighter that was activated that turn 1 hex away from the nearest enemy and give them a guard token.
Yeah, that's quite nice, and it's easy to, like you say, it's easy to do, and it's just a one-shot ability.
Yeah.
So Furious Reprisal was another one, which was essentially after you were attacked, you got to have a little bite back with a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
So you could just go straight onto the Warthog and just take the token off, which would be quite straightforward.
Yeah.
Smell Weakness was another great one. After selecting an enemy fighter as the target for an attack during the action step, that attack has Enclave and Ensnare. Obviously, you can only pick one of the two of them. If the target has a wound counter, nice and straightforward. Again, it's not going to affect the wolf's bite. It's always nice to be able to get do I want Cleaver and Snare on this attack, so you can be a bit more flexible with the warband you're up against.
And Savage Mourning, which is one of the most painfully good cards, especially with the various wolf extra supports and things, which is basically you've got +1 dice for each supporting fighter adjacent to the enemy fighter.
Yeah.
Which was...
I don't think we've seen anything like that in the game so far. I think there's just like a gain 1 extra dice, like your determined efforts and things like that. So it would be nice to have something which keys off of actually having the supporting fighters there, but it would have to be flanked by a supporting fighter rather than regular flanked, because you already have that and you don't want, because that's how you used to get it before. You used to build all that up, so you'd end up with like +3 dice and +3 damage on your attack and stupid things like that, which they can control much easier in this version.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for Rippas, because they're a much loved warband, even though I don't particularly like them. I'm hoping that they bring people what they want without being overpowered. Yeah,
I feel like they have the potential to be quite thematic, but a nice, simple aggro warband that you're going to have to get good at, because just charging in with 2 dodge, you're going to get chopped up unless you're careful. But if you can time things right and you can target your attacks properly, then you can quickly snipe off key fighters from the opposing side, because they'll be quite fast.
So now we have to move on to the other two, Mollog and the Gitz.
Mollog and the Gitz sounds like a band. It's Mollog and the Gitz at number 3.
So Mollog is Mastery
Warband, and that's mostly because his abilities all tie into the squigs that support him. I think we mentioned in another video with the Discord that we probably don't see them changing at all.
No.
And I'm quite sad if Mollog doesn't get any kind of glow up, because I feel like there's the nasty little critters is the ability, I think, that makes you surrounded. If there's a squig next to you, you're surrounded.
It's horrific.
Which makes all the attacks against you so much more accurate, and also makes them so much more defensible. I feel like that's so good, people mostly don't ever take any of the others.
No, that is true.
I'd like to see something which maybe encourage that people to pick other stuff a bit more, but I don't think we're going to see a change on him at all.
No, I don't think so. He's not broken.
He's not broken. He's not winning gold all left, right and centre. He doesn't have a 100% win record or anything.
So he's not broken, so I think it's going to stay the same.
Yeah,
so.
I beat him the other week with vampires. I think if anything, vampires need nerfing.
I absolutely got destroyed by him, because I was trying...
Same player, same deck.
I was trying to do Railstone Relics, which involve successful attacks, and when he's got single and double supports, it's quite hard.
Yeah. Personally, instead of Mollog, I would have liked to have said Headcrackers, but I think that because of the way they've changed what armies are in AOS, I don't think we'll ever see Headcrackers, and I don't think we'll ever see... I don't think we'll ever see the Despoilers either, because Beastmen and Savage Orcs are no longer a thing in AOS.
Yeah, so I think they're gone. They're gone for good.
Which is a shame. Would like to have seen them stay, but...
There are pictures of them on the cards.
There are some pictures on the cards. Yeah, that's true. So
maybe, but you feel like the longer it goes, the less chance there is going to keep bringing out these 4 thingy boxes, and therefore.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even enough. I think warbands left to do another 16 after this. So
I don't think there is. We should do a breakdown of who's not appeared.
That'll be another video coming soon after these series of videos, if we ever get them finished. The other warband, of course, is Zarbags, who's obviously a hold warband.
Yeah, I don't think anybody needed to see these back. I know people love them, so I'm only joking. But I just, as we said at the top of the video, I'm over them.
They have that problem like the Null Spirit Pack did. They're really good.
Yeah.
So we personally immediately shy away from them. It's a bit like getting into a fight with an old age pensioner. Either you're beating up an old man or an old man just beat you up, and neither of those is a great outcome. So if you pick Zarbags and you flatten your opponent, well, obviously you picked Zarbags. But if your opponent flattens you, you can't even win with Zarbags. Again, we're probably not going to see a change them. If they did change them at all, I'd like to see a rune mark added to maybe Snurk and the Squigs. It's another band name for you. Snurk and the Squigs so that they can't benefit from the scurry ability mechanic, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think Snurk certainly shouldn't be able to scurry.
Yeah, and maybe the minions staying on one dodge. Because 2 dodge, there's too many of them as it is.
There's 2 dodges because you've got to break them down. And,
yeah.
You basically need to be able to hit them, and if they're 2 dodge, they're too hard to hit. So it really slows you down trying to take them out. I also think I haven't played them a lot, but I think one of the biggest mistakes they made is trying to simplify it. They meant that the Squigs inspire really easily as well. And I know they have up the amount of glory you need to spend, but I think they probably should have added a thing that they only inspire when Driz gets dead.
Yeah.
Because they go to something like 3 hammers, 2 damage or something.
Yeah, they get
like
quite
that.
punchy.
And 2 dodge.
And 2 dodge.
Yeah, so that's really, really tasty, especially if you use cards with them.
Yeah.
It's like
especially
grievous.
Especially when you pair them with P&P decks where you're scoring glory left, right and centre because you've got so many bodies standing on treasure tokens. It just feels like they can hit like trucks and they can cover all the bases as well. So they have no downside.
No, they truly are flex.
They really are the flexes to flex, but they are hold.
Yeah.
So it's all about the hold. So I feel like they need to have some of their punch removed.
Yeah.
Because they're meant to be hold. They're not meant to be scoring annihilation.
No. Having said all that, I don't think they'll change them.
No, I think overall Mollog and Zarbags will stay exactly the same.
I do hope that they again will reflect the change that they have made.
God, yes.
Who knows? Maybe they'll completely redesign them. They won't.
So that is the Destruction box. I personally am probably looking forward to this one least out of all 4 of them. Mostly because we already got 2 of the warbands, so you're only getting 2.
Half of the boxes, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't particularly like Destruction warbands, full stop.
Even with like Rippers, although I like the warband, I don't like the aesthetic.
No, I was really looking forward to them when they said they would come out. And I don't really know, they're very static wolves.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a little bit to them, but I just don't like the whole look of Gitz on wolves. To me, it didn't really quite tick the... I would have rather have seen Spider Riders.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been much better.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd love to do like alternate sculpts with like Skaven on giant wolf rat things. And there's some Flesh Eater Court ones where they're on these big like vampire monstery things. There's like they're the knights. There's 3 of them. They look really nice as well. But yeah, I'm not a fan of a lot of the... Yeah, that's true. But I'm not a massive fan of a lot of the Destruction aesthetic either, and I loathe Mollog with a passion.
I don't dislike Mollog, and I love Batsquee.
Yeah, well, who doesn't like Batsquee?
That's quite good fun.
But
yeah, I mean, I quite like him actually, the way he's built. I think he's interesting, but we've played him and we've seen him, so it's a bit disappointing that there's 2 of those. Both of those warbands are about 7 years old now. I mean, there's fewer Destruction warbands for them to choose from.
Yeah, that is true.
Obviously, they've got Stab Labs and Mantrappers.
They've already got them out. They could have Iron Skulls.
I would much rather have seen Iron Skulls, although the models are dog shit.
They are.
I would much rather have seen Iron Skulls, like a full-on aggro Iron Skull.
Yeah, but I guess they want to try and keep it like, you have some flex and some aggro. Well,
there
and stuff,
isn't very much hold, is there?
No, no.
That's the problem. They've got to kind of keep Zarbag.
We've already got Loon Knight, the Loon Court as well. Yeah,
which I do like.
No. So overall, this one is my least excitable box, but I am looking forward to Rippers, I think, like a lot of people probably are.
I probably have the 4 most interested in Hrothgorn.
Yeah.
And so that is the 3rd video, which I hope you enjoyed. If you've got any observations, comments, disagreements, do put them in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed the video, do click that like button.
Yep, and do click that subscribe button so you get all our videos in the future get brought up for you as well.
And if you would like, please do consider supporting us on Patreon. All the money we earn on there comes ploughed back into the channel.
Yep.
And it means you can join our Discord and chat about these things. Like this kind of video, we always talk to our patrons, and so thank you to anybody who suggested changes and things or ideas for what might go in the warband. So thank you for those. And we talk about that on our Discord all the time, and Discord's a great place, and we'd love to have you over there.
So we'll see you soon, probably somewhere in the Spitewood.